Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello, welcome back to the show. Great to have you along. Ben here, and really looking forward to my conversation today with Chandré Grobler. Chandré is a fascinating person and a brilliant HR professional turned HR consultant or HR consulting firm leader. So Chandré, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Yeah, and whereabouts are you calling in from?
So I am a South African living in the UK.
Brilliant.
So I currently reside in England, close to Oxford.
Gosh, there aren't too many South Africans and Australians living in London, are there?
Too many.
Too many of us. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you've survived the heat wave that you've been having in London, I'm hoping.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's a different kind of heat to what I'm used to be fair. But surviving it just about.
Good. Very good. Yeah. So thanks very much for joining me. I'm really looking forward to the conversation because you've gone through a big change quite recently, and that is to leap out of the old corporate world and begin your own business. So I'd love to see, perhaps starting with the background and then sort of feeding into what led to the formation of the business.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a long time coming. It's something that I've thought about for a while now. And I am a massive fan of how-to guides. And I mean, Ben, I know you're not paying me to say this, but I came across your training online and how to start your own HR consultancy, and I just found it really useful. And so I worked my way through that because I just felt like I didn't know where to start. I didn't know, how to put things together. And so worked my way through that, and then it's kind of formed from there. Looking forward to just getting started and kicking off.
That's great. So HR is such a broad field, you might say from hiring to firing it, everything in between. So what have you landed on in terms of what your business will offer? And then secondly, how did you select what you're going to be offering? And did you choose any sort of focus points?
Yeah, so for me, it was quite difficult because I'm an HR generalist, or I have been for 15 years and in various sectors. And so I was a little bit stubborn in that sense. I didn't want to choose a target audience. I didn't want to specialize. I felt like I could do, why can't I just do it all? And I want to do it all, and I want to see what the market does and then take it from there. And so even to the last minute, that's something that I didn't really give too much thought to. And I think you say it about 700 times in your training. Specialize, choose a target audience, niche, make sure that you can't do everything for everyone. And it just didn't land until fairly recently. I think one of the main reasons why I struggled to find a speciality, or why I struggled to really choose my target audience, is because I have a passion for charities. And people kept saying to me, but charities and not-for-profits don't have money. They don't use consultants. Why would they? They don't have money to spend on consultants. And I think eventually I trusted my own voice, and I trusted my own experience. And having worked for a non-profit and for a charity, I've realized that it's not that charities don't have money, it's that they don't have money to waste. And so efficiency is really important. And coincidentally, that's something we're really good at. So I think that's the difference. Their supporters give them the money that they have, and the supporters trust them to use that money wisely and not to be wasteful. And so it's all about efficiency. But I do think there's a market there, and so we'll see.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. Yeah, so for listeners, if you're not sure, Chandré is the founder of Human Resource Limited, which is an HR consultancy focused on helping faith-based organizations develop their talented people. And to your point there, around, they've got money, they don't have money to waste, and so they want to do it properly. And so efficiency, and I think that will actually help when it comes to productizing your service and getting very organized in having different levels, so if they've got a big budget, then you can provide that service in one particular way. If they've got a smaller budget, then you can still provide different outcomes, but maybe it's in different formats, whether that be workshops, even book forms or training courses. So, and then the other aspect is some elements of the HR field are, local to the local legal environment, things like that, the contracts and stuff like that. But other stuff like hiring, employee retention, attraction, retention stuff, that's international, and there's nothing stopping you develop product services that focus on faith-based organizations in other countries, such as the US and other places. What do you think about that?
Having experience in both South Africa and in the UK is definitely globalizing is definitely something that's always been at the back of my mind. So yeah, I definitely think there's opportunity there.
Yeah. So just to take it back then, you said you had a generalist background, you can cover a lot of ground. So you went down a focus point of the faith-based organizations. So that's how you went, and then you'll offer generalist services to them. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not all generalist services. There's I structured it into 3 packages basically. So, and I had a look at the things that I really enjoy doing and the things that I'm really good at. And so I looked at things like designing of performance appraisal processes, recruitment, because I have experience in internal and external recruitment. So supporting in recruitment and working with Christian charities or with faith-based organizations. Their recruitment is a little bit different to others, where while working with a Christian charity with managers, before I recruit with them, before we start interviewing, we would pray together. So there's a whole process around it that's a little bit different, that I understand, from my background in working in a charity or a Christian charity and non-profit organizations.
It's very good. So tell us about the 3 packages. So A, because I'm interested, and B, if someone is listening to this, they may think, I know of an organization that could take advantage and use one of those sort of 3 service levels. So what have you got there?
Yes, I've put it together in 3 packages. So human source subscription is kind of a retainer, playing with words there, but it's a retainer package where for a monthly fee, there's a list of things that I do. So one of the things that's one of my specialities is HR analytics. So it'll be monthly management report, like standard monthly management report, employee advice, a list of things that you do on a monthly basis. And then I have human source standout, which is project-based work. So that would be performance appraisals, and bigger project works, maybe HR analytics reports if they need something specific on job evaluation or whatever it may be. And then the other one is human source support, which is basically a daily rate kind of package set together for a recruitment support or training of HR employees.
Brilliant. And any one of those could be sliced off into a standalone smaller thing that can feed into bigger work, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So if you have a subscription, there's a 10% discount on the other packages, etc. So it's trying to get that lead magnet, as you would call it, into the next thing.
Yeah, I mean the old classic that I often share, I guess, is when I went into one business, they had purchased a generic employee handbook, and they had paid $2,000 or something in Australia to buy it. Then they realized, it doesn't quite fit our business, so they got me in as an external consultant to tailor it to their business. But that was just a foot in the door thing. And then I said, well, that's great, but you'll need everyone to understand it and sign it. So would you like me to run 3 sessions? And then, so that's group sessions, training everyone on that and getting sign off on that. And then you can have refresher training every year. And then while you're there, I see you've got a vacancy for some key management roles. Do you want some help either building the process or, so yeah, having some of those smaller things are excellent for that. And I love the fact that you focused on things that you're good at and you enjoy, because for instance, the analytics side of things, do you see demand for that, and how will you sort of promote that offering?
Yeah, I do see demand for that. But I think it's more of a fact of there's not many people that actually enjoy HR analytics, and I love spreadsheets, and so I think that's something that I find really useful when partnering with other HR consultants, networking and partnering, saying to them, actually, I like doing HR analytics. Most of them say to me, I don't like that part of HR. I prefer not to do it, which is fine, because then we can complement each other with the things that I like to do and they like to do. So there's always networking and partnering opportunities in that.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I just had a flash of an idea of a lead magnet. You hear me talking about it a lot. So for people listening, a lead magnet is just, you can either pitch your sale to someone you met online or something straight away, hey, buy my stuff, or you can give them something useful or interesting that gets them in the front door, and then you can nurture the relationship and give them more education or advice or whatever over time until they're ready to take up your services. But one might be the whole HR dashboard or the management dashboard, because I know people look for those sort of things. How do I present our HR data to the management team, let's say every month? But sitting behind that, they probably then don't know how to get the analytics built or what to measure or how to track it and things like that. So that could be a nice little useful thing, that it's useful in one way, but it also requires your help beyond that. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very good. And so in terms of winning new clients, what are your plans? You're stepping out to the great unknown. So what are you thinking in terms of marketing and business growth?
Two things that have been really important for me is networking, and also a mindset of abundance. I think there's enough work for everyone,
Absolutely.
and if you network and speak to other HR professionals and speak to other people in the industries, they are always kind of happy to help, happy to give you advice, happy to introduce you to somebody. Well, that's what I found anyway. People are really kind and happy to refer you to somebody they know. So yeah, definitely, I think networking has been the big thing, and just having a mindset of abundance.
Yeah, and the fact that you have chosen a niche or a niche in the faith-based organization area, that it just makes life so much easier. It's the old analogy of you buy a blue Volvo, you leave the car yard, and then you spot every blue Volvo that drives past. Yeah. And so now you've chosen your area, you will spot business organizations that fit what you do. So it's so much easier. It means you can speak to the right people, whether it be interviews and articles or who to approach in the sales, business development area, whether it be emailing them or calling them. But it makes so much easier. So are you gradually going to build out a plan that says, well, this is what I'm going to do, whether it be networking or speaking opportunities or things like that in my area?
I've started to speak to people in the industry to set up webinars that I could do on their platform, that they will share on their platform. And so I think it's definitely picking a target audience has taken a weight off of my shoulders, because all of a sudden I felt like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. I feel comfortable in this realm. I feel like, I know what I'm talking about, and so I feel calm about it, and like I'm not stressing about contacting people or getting in touch with people anymore, because I feel like I know their area and I know what to say.
That's brilliant. And again, just the marketing nerd in me thinks if you are going to go and do these talks or the webinars, do come up with sort of takeaway, handout, giveaway thing that attendees can get, that's got your logo and potentially would download from your website. Again, because you've chosen your area, you can tailor that. It might be an info pack specifically for faith-based organizations or churches or whatever it may be. But so much opportunity. And on the networking side of things, do you enjoy that? Like you mentioned, you chose your business, you built it around things you like doing. Are there certain bits of marketing that you like doing and don't like doing?
I think when I worked as a external recruitment consultant, I really disliked cold calling. I'm not a cold calling kind of person. I don't like just randomly calling somebody up and saying, oh my goodness, did we have tricks to get people to take our calls? But yeah, so I don't like that. I like to build a relationship, with somebody. And I think I'm going to refer back to some of your training. You say it as well. You don't propose before you've gone on a date with somebody. And it almost feels, and it annoys me when people do that to me, when they send me an email out of the blue. They got my email address from somewhere, I don't know, and then says to me, do you have time for a quick call? It's like, no, I don't have time for a quick call. Who are you?
Where'd you come from? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I didn't like the networking side of things, the physical, the big business groups where you've got various businesses in the room. And in theory, all these amazing customers are there. But realistically, I'm going, it felt a bit like cold calling. I had to sort of walk up to someone out of the blue and say, tell me about yourself. And here's what I do. And it was just quite awkward, which is probably why I like the marketing stuff. You can build up information and resources. But any other channels that you're thinking, like you've mentioned, you're going down the trying to get interviews and webinars in other places. Any other sort of avenues you're going to pursue?
Yeah, so I'm working on my website. I've done your latest training on the websites and how to generate lead magnets. So people are going to think you paid me to do this. But so I've done that, and so I'm working on a few documents or resources or lead magnets that I can put into my website, so my website can generate kind of income for me or leads for me. So that's the one side. And then obviously I've working in the industry for quite a while. I've built up quite a network of people who've moved on from the charity that I worked for to other places and have been promoted to to other places. And so that's quite useful as well, to get in touch.
Yeah. And that is a big thing that people often forget when it comes to marketing their own new businesses. It's the old employers and the old networks. They kind of, I think I felt it, I know others did, is there's a line, a division, and I'm going forward now and I've got to make my way in the world. But so Liz Steblay, someone who was on this show, she shared great advice that no, leverage that, call on old friends and old bosses and stuff.
Definitely.
And say, can I do a project for you? Can I do something part-time or remember that thing that we all hated doing? Well, I'm happy to do that because that's the thing in my business, and it's income and it's another logo for the, or a testimonial for the business. So would you consider looking backwards whilst looking forwards as well?
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that I did was also following your advice is I've managed to negotiate with my employer, and actually now I've got a contract with them as well, a consultancy contract. So they were my first client, bless them. So which is really useful. I mean, it's not always that straightforward in terms of IR35 and the legalities of stuff, but it worked out this time.
Oh, well done. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Gosh. So for people listening to this, what are the ideal organizations so that they could potentially refer you on to those organizations? So yeah, that's the big one. What should they be looking out for?
Yeah, I think, so any faith-based organizations, I mean, there's thousands in the UK alone. But yeah, the big ones, I guess, like Tier Fund, Open Doors, those kinds of guys who,
What kind of headcount would those organizations have?
So Tier Fund, I think, has over 2,000 employees. They're one of the biggest Christian charities. And then Open Doors, I think, has a little bit less than that. And then Bible Society is also fairly big for a charity, but they have 160 odd employees.
And that also provides plenty of scope for interesting project work, because I know you've got that sort of tier. I did lots of work with government departments when I was consulting, and I would go in for 2-day workshops, for instance, to run feedback sessions, or not diversity and inclusion, but some other sort of focus groups where they gather ideas and build out a plan so that they could propose their grand plan to the management team, and then they would run off with it. But yeah, I think some of those larger organizations, there's plenty of scope for some really, really interesting work. Absolutely. And then I'm always curious as to people's perspective on what's coming down the line in terms of HR and the world of work and getting different perspectives. So, wow, we've been through so much in the last few years, but what do you see coming down the line for HR and the world of work?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the UK specifically, there's staff shortages. So that's definitely a problem at the moment. And I think consultants should take the opportunities while they are available. There's an Afrikaans saying that if you translate it, it basically says, when it's raining porridge, get the ladle out. And that's basically, it's raining porridge at the moment with the amount of job opportunities out there, but employers aren't finding the people to fill those vacancies, but they need the work done. And so at the end of the day, they use consultants to get the work done. And so I think there's many opportunities at the moment. I think it's definitely there's enough work. So yeah, that would be my take on it. Take the opportunities.
Brilliant. Well, I think you've got a great wealth of experience. You've structured a really effective business organization. You've chosen your area. You know what the issues are in the faith-based, sector, if you like. So you know what to look for, you know how to help organizations. So I think you'd be a wonderful asset as a consultant. And you've shared who we could potentially refer on. So people listening to this, if you would know of a potential client or someone who might partner up with Chandré to refer in business or to work together in some way to support both businesses, then absolutely go for it. How would people find out more about your business and potentially get in touch with you?
So I have a website. It's www.humansourceltd.com. And we're also on LinkedIn. The page is Human Source. I'm on LinkedIn myself as well.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
And then just any final thoughts or advice for people who are currently in the corporate world and they're thinking of doing what you have done? What's your advice to them?
Yeah, I think trust in your own ability. There's always a lot of talk going around. I once read this really interesting piece that somebody posted about if there's a bucket and there's crabs inside the bucket, and some of the crabs are trying to climb out of the bucket, then the ones who are inside the bucket will pull the other crabs' limbs off to try to keep them inside the bucket. And it's happened sometimes where one or two people are really pessimistic about the fact that you want to do your own thing, but why would you do that? That's such a risk. But I think just following your own heart and just trusting in your own abilities, I think it's kind of key. Plan, obviously, make sure that you put things in place, and there's some how-to guides if they get stuck.
Brilliant. I love it. Well, I've learned so much. I've learned about crabs. I've learned about porridge as well. So Afrikaans says that I wish you all the best. I think it's an amazing thing that you built there, and it's only going to get bigger and stronger. So well done, and all the best for the future. And thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.